In this video, I'm going to compare and contrast the Fizik Aliante saddle with the Selle SMP dynamic saddle. I'm going to tell you why exactly I have both of them, one on each bike, and which one I prefer. Now, in choosing a saddle, the shape is very, very important. I've tried many different saddles that are straight, like this one, and I've tried ones that are curved, and everything in between. And I'll tell you this, the advantage of a straight saddle is that you can move your butt all across the saddle so that if you're trying to be aggressive, for example, in a bike race, you can move your body around to change positions. That's an advantage for some people, but not really for me, because I didn't like that. I like to climb, and every time I climbed on a straight saddle, I felt like my butt was sliding off the back. So when you're choosing a saddle, you want to know, do you like a straight saddle or a curved saddle? That's number one. Number two, you have to know the width. Now, as a reference, my butt, and this is probably TMI, but my sit bones are about 110 millimeters apart. So most of the saddles that I like tend to be thinner saddles. If the saddle is too wide, then the inner thighs are going to rub against the saddle and you're going to wear out your bib shorts. But of course, if the saddle's too narrow for you, your butt is going to go sliding side to side and it's going to feel like you're sitting on the edge of a 2x4. But it isn't just as simple as just going and sitting on one of those pads and figuring out what your width is in terms of your sit bones. It's a lot more complicated than that. You may have a wide sit bone, but because you ride aggressively in the drops, when you tilt your pelvis, you're able to allow yourself to have a more narrow saddle. Likewise, you may have thin sit bones, but if you ride more upright, you may prefer a wider saddle. So some of it is a measurement, but a lot of it is trial and error and your riding style. The third component of choosing a saddle is the bicycle fit, and that's not this video. I'm just going to contrast these two and tell you the difference. Sometimes a good saddle may not fit you very well because it's just position wrong, but once you have the fit correct, then you know. And so for me, I know the width that I like, and in addition to that, I know the saddle shape that I like. And now let's get into these particular saddles. So first things first, let's talk about the shape. You can see this has a nice curve to it, and the Selle SMP has a nice curve to it. In other words, these saddles are shaped pretty much the same. And I really like the shape of these saddles because it feels like someone is just cupping your two tennis balls and supporting you like an angel, just holding you and allowing you to ride your bike. Now the difference here is the Aliante is 141 millimeters from side to side, and the dynamic is 138. The nice thing, and the reason I like this, even though this is more of a wider saddle, is it dips off on the side. So effectively, it really is more of a narrow saddle. And what I've noticed with both of these saddles, I have them set up on my bikes so that they are the same exact angle or level. I like them about 1.5 degrees nose down, and I have that on both saddles. So those are the similarities of both of these saddles. Now let's talk about the differences. The first is this Fizik Aliante. It's curvy, smooth, and sexy, just like a good woman. Now the Selle SMP Dynamic, it really looks weird, and it has this weird beak coming off the top here, and it looks like Gonzo's nose. You know, Gonzo from the Muppets. As far as price, the Aliante cost me only $130, and I've seen it as low as $90 on competitive cyclists. The Dynamic, $270. And one of the biggest differences about these two saddles, this one does not have a cutout, this one does. And that is the weirdest thing about these two saddles, is I don't notice the difference in terms of the cutout with the Aliante. Because if the sizing is right, the position and fit is right, and the shape is good, then I don't really notice a whole big difference. So the million-dollar question is, why do I have them both on my bike? Why not just buy one? Here's the reason why. Because when I ride gravel, I love the smoothness of this. When I ride long distances, I like the cutout and the overall shape best and the fit of the Selle SMP Dynamic.